All right, guys, so here we go again. We're going to do another YouTube video for this time it's going to be Chapter 5 test review, and it's going to be over the system of equations. So we've learned a lot of different ways to solve systems of equations. We've learned how to do them by graphing, and then looking at the graph and kind of determining if there was one solution, no solution, or infinitely many solutions. Then we looked at how to solve systems of equations by substitution, which I think was the most difficult part. And then we learned how to do them by elimination. So I'm going to go over a test that's relatively similar, just to review for your chapter test. And your test will be just like the problems that are on here. So problem 1 will look just like problem 1 on your test, except obviously it'll be different people, different numbers, and whatnot. But the same process that I use to solve the problem will be the same process that you will need to use on your test. And I narrowed it down. We got it down to 10 questions, just 10 questions. So I'm going to go through all 10 of these, and then whatever you write down on your own sheet of paper, you can use on a test. So here we go. So number 1 says, 2 students are reading a book. Keith reads 6 pages a day, and Tamika reads 5 pages a day, but he starts sooner and has already read 15 pages. So we got 2 people in this story. We got Keith, 6 pages a day, and we got Tamika, 5 pages a day, but also read 15 pages already. So it says, write a system of equations to represent the situation using D for days and P for pages. So you have 2 equations. You got one for Keith, one for Tamika. So we got, let's see here. So here, D days would equal, this is for Keith here. So for Keith, you'd have D days would just be 6 pages per day, basically, is what that would be. So 6 pages per day. And that should be it. Or technically, I guess that should actually be backwards. I'm sorry. Yeah, pages would equal 6 times your days, because you're doing pages per day. So you got 6D. So if you time, let's say you picked 3 days, how many pages would you do? Well, you would do 6, 12, 18. So 3 times 6 would be 18 pages. So on day 3, you'd be at 16 pages. And that's how that would kind of work. So that was Keith. And then we have Tamika. So she would be P pages, but 5 pages per day, plus the 15 that they already had, that he had already read. So it says graph the systems of equations. It's up to you on how you'd want to do that. I'm going to do it by hand, and you can do it by, however you kind of want. My opinion would be to go to Desmos graphing calculator, because on your test you'll take a computer version, and it'll just have the graphs already built for you, and all you got to do is just match it to the one that's on Desmos. So matter of fact, let's go ahead and try that real quick. Let's actually pull up Desmos here, and Notability at the same time here. Let's see if I can get that to coincide with this. There we go. So let's graph that equation. We have, you can just say 6x, and then the other one can be 6x plus 15, or I'm sorry, 5x plus 15. And let's see here. So you got 5x, 6x plus 15. All right, and then we can scroll up and see kind of how, or zoom out and see how this graph would look. And if you kind of zoom in here, this is kind of what it would look like. And they'll probably have it zoomed in to where more kind of like this. But your x-axis will be a little bit different. Not 100% sure if I can modify the x-axis. Yeah, I can. Let's say want to go from -5 to say, what are they trying to go to? 25. There you go. And you have your y-axis. I'm just going to make this simple. 0 to 100. So on your computer, whenever you're taking this test, this is the graph that you need to pick, the one that looks like this, and you'll be good to go. And all I did is just went straight to Desmos, and you're completely allowed to do this. Go to the Desmos graph calculator, type it in, and Shazam, there's your graph. So the one that's on the computer, whenever you take the computer version of the test, this is what you would need to click on, or at least go to Desmos, graph the two equations that you have, and whichever one looks like your graph, that's the one you need to click on your test. So let's put that to the side for now and keep going on the test. It says, will Keith and Tamika ever be on the same page on the same day? Well, if you look over here at the graph, that answer would be yes, because they actually cross paths right here at 1590. So that answer would be yes. They will be on the same page after a certain amount of days. So they will be, let's see here, the x value is 15. So yes, after 15 days, they both will be on page 90. And I got that from the information that's over here on the graph. I know my laser pointer can't go over there, but over there on the graph where it says 1590, that 15 represents the days and the 90 represents the pages. So after 15 days, they will both be on page 90. So yes, they will be on the same page by a certain day. And then that's the end of part one. That's part one there. Let's go on, move on to number 2. I'll go ahead and slide the graph out of the way. Let's see here. So how many solutions does the system of equations have? Well, if you guys remember, these lines here are parallel. And if they're parallel, that means, well, hopefully you guessed it, no solution. And it's multiple choice, so that's pretty straightforward. And I'm not necessarily going to make you, solve these systems the way that they ask you to. As long as you have a tool in your toolbox, your mathematical toolbox, that can help you solve these problems, I'm cool with it. Okay, so if you want to use substitution, you want to use elimination, you want to go to the Desmos graphing calculator and graph them and figure out the solution that way, knock yourself out. So let's keep rocking and rolling. So taxi A charges a fee of $3.50 plus $1.75 per mile. Taxi B charges a fee of $1.25 plus $2 per mile. At what distance would the taxi cost be the same? Okay, well, see, taxi A, so I'll just say TA, and then taxi B, so TB. You'd write two equations for that. So the first one charges $1.75 per mile plus the $3.50 before they even move. That's just the charging fee. And then taxi B does something similar, but they charge $2 per mile, but only $1.25 to start off. And you have the option to go to Desmos, graph those two guys, and see where they cross. Wherever they cross, the x value should be the miles. So let's actually pull up Desmos again. And let's graph both of these. So we have $1.75. You can just use x, there's nothing wrong with that, plus $3.50. And then the other one is $2 plus $1.25. And then we can come over here, look at the graph there and see where they cross. Looks like they cross right around here. It's like about 9 miles. Yeah, they cross at 9 miles. So that x value there, where it says 9, 19.25, so it'd be 9 miles at 9 miles, they would charge the same for both taxi ride. So at 9 miles. And you're welcome to do that exact same thing that I just did. So if you can watch this and then practice doing that, you'll be able to do that same thing on the test. And I'm cool with it. This one says, solve the system of equations. How many solutions does the system have? So this doesn't tell you to use substitution, doesn't tell you to use elimination, and it doesn't tell you anything really. It just tells you how many solutions does the system have. So you get to each pick, and all you got to do is do that for basically the rest of the problems. So what I would do, if I were you, I'd go take both of these and go graph them. So here we go again. I mean, this is what you can do. I mean, I'm cool with this. So you got 6x. Oh, gotta get that one out of there. You got 6x plus the 3y equals the 24. And then you have y equals negative 2x plus 8. So those are the two equations. So the two equations that I just typed in came directly from right here. Okay, I just typed both of these in identical to how I see them here and just typed them into the Desmos graphing calculator. Now all I got to do is just go move the graph around and see where they cross, or to see if they don't cross, or see if it's the same line. So let's scroll over here. Let's zoom out a little. Okay, so I only see one line. Let's zoom in extra close just to make sure they're not parallel. And no, look at that. All right, that's one line. So if there's one line, when I graphed two equations, how many solutions does that have? No solution, one solution, or infinitely many? Well, hopefully you guessed it. It should be infinitely many solutions. They're the same line. They're right on top of each other. Infinitely many solutions. And great job. All right, so this one says, solve the system of equations using elimination. Number 5. Yes, you can use systems of equations or solve it by elimination. I'm cool with that. I have no problem with that at all. And if you want to do that, knock yourself out. However, you are welcome to go to the Desmos graphing calculator, and you're welcome to go graph those, and then wherever they intersect, that is your answer. So for instance, you can rewrite these with x's and y's, and then go graph it. So 72x minus 12g equals, or you gotta say x and y equals 96, and then you can say 6x minus 2g equals 10, or 2y, I'm sorry. Here I go again, still using the same letters they got. Now I can take that and go graph that in my Desmos graphing calculator, because it actually has letters that I'm familiar with. And we can say 72x minus 12y equals 96. And then we can do 6x minus 2y equals 10. And if you look at this, you notice that they cross each other. The two graphs will cross each other. Now you just got to figure out what that intersection is, and all you got to do on your computer is click on it, and it says a 1 comma negative 2. So if you look at your options over there on your test, you have A, B, C, or D. We said that our F right here is actually our X, so our F values are our X's, and then our G values are our Y values. So that means our X coordinate is 1 and our Y coordinate is negative 2, which would be our F would be our X's, so that'd be 1. So this option is not correct, not correct, and that doesn't have F as 1. So that leaves you with option C, and then you got it. So 1 comma negative 2. And you're good to go. You could solve using elimination if you want, but I'm telling you, graphing is the easiest way to go. And it's fair game. You know, if you can solve a systems of equations using the easiest way, I mean, Doesn't make sense to use elimination or substitution if you have a graphing calculator, or if I'm allowing you to use one. The next one says solve the solution to the system of equations. Explain, or what is this solution to the system of equations? Okay, so what you can do, solve it any way you want on 6. My preferred method, as you can see, is just going to the graph and graphing it, and then interpreting the graph and the information that it presents you with, and then you know the answer. So let's do that one more time. So we're going to do, we'll probably do it a few more times, honestly. So we got 16x minus 2, and then minus 2y equals 0. That's interesting. And then we got y equals 8x plus 4. And if you look at these two equations, they never cross. And if they never cross, that means they're parallel. And if they're parallel, there is no solution. So over here on your test, it says, what is the solution to the system of equations? No solution. The lines are parallel. Parallel? Oh, dang, I can't spell it all. There we go. No solution, and the lines are parallel. It's a done deal. And all you have to do is go graph that. It's a done deal. That's it. You're good. Number 7. Use substitution. What is the solution to the system of equations? Explain. You're welcome to use substitution. However, on your test, it's just going to ask for the solution. This is a paper copy of the test, so that I have a PDF version and I'm able to go through it with you guys. The one that you're going to take is on the computer. This question just says type in the value for x and then the value for y. Or it might even be a drop-down box that says no solution, infinitely many solutions, yada, yada, yada. You're not going to have a little bubble like this if you just type in your answer. Okay, so I would go over there, graph it, just like we've been doing. So you have y is equal to, we got to use the fraction bar here. They have it. I guess not. Maybe if I type in 1 divided by 4. Okay, it still did it that way. Okay, we're good. So 1/4 x plus the 4. So that's the first equation there that they gave us on number 7. And then I can type in the second one. So 12y minus 48 equals 3x. And there's my two equations. So I graphed them. Let's go look at them. So when I zoom in here and I'm looking at the graph, I typed in two equations. Two equations, yet, don't know if you've noticed, but there is only one line. One line, and I graphed two equations. So if there is one line when I graph two equations, that means there's how many solutions? Hopefully you've said infinitely many. Infinitely many solutions, and if they ask you to pick a explanation, you would just say infinitely many solutions, because the two lines are the same. And you're all done. Infinitely many solutions. Line number 8. Nia sells pizzas. Large pizzas cost $8 each, and small pizzas cost $6 each. She sold 12 pizzas for $84. How many of each size pizza did Nadia sell? Okay, this is the hard part. It's probably one of the harder questions on the test. So what we need to do is we need to be able to write two equations based off of this information, take those two equations, go graph them in the Desmos graphing calculator, and wherever they intersect, that's our answer. So let's let our small pizzas represent x. Let me see if I can make this better. Let me zoom in here. We'll let this information here, small pizzas, that'll represent letter x. So let that represent letter x, and we'll let the large pizzas, we'll let that represent letter y. Okay, so we could say for our two equations, it's going to be a little interesting, so bear with me. You need a pizza equation without no money, so you got small pizzas plus large pizzas is going to equal the total amount of pizzas that she sold. Well, the total amount of pizzas that she sold were 12. Then we got to make our money equation. So pizzas, small pizzas, they cost $6 each. So $6 per small pizza plus the $8 for each large pizza cost a total of what she sold. A total that she sold was $84. Now those are our two equations. Now you go take both of those equations, you go type them in the Desmos graphing calculator, shazam, it's all done. So we got x plus y equals the 12. And then you go type in the other one, you got the 6x plus the 8y, and it equals the 84. And then you got both your equations graphed. All you got to do is go find where they cross, and then you know that intersection is your answer. So we scroll over here. Let's click on the intersection. That intersection is 6, 6. And remember, we let small pizzas represent our x value, which is in a coordinate point, you have x comma y. So that first one, oh, it went away, is 6. And the other one is also 6. So that means this is 6, and this one is 6 here. So that means our small pizzas, this right here, our small pizzas here is 6. And then we also got our y is also 6, which is our large pizza. So there's only one option down here, y'all, that literally says 6 and 6. You got 6 small pizzas, 6 large pizzas. That's what the information that we just graphed told us. And it's a done deal. We got it. And that's how you do number 8. You have a problem that's relatively similar on your test. You just got to try to do the exact same type of thing I just did. All right, let's look at number 9. Ice Dreamer charges $4 to rent ice skates plus $1.50 per hour to skate. Skating Paradise charges $1 to rent ice skates plus $3 per hour to skate. Write a system of equations to represent the situation using H for the number of hours and C for the cost. So the cost for ice streamers would be equal to $1.50 per hour plus the $4 to rent the skates. And that's for ice streamer. Or ice stream, not ice streamer, ice stream. All right, and then the next one is, what is it, Skating Paradise. And Skating Paradise states that the cost is going to be $1 to rent the skates and $3 per hour to skate. So $3 per hour plus the $1 for the skates. Well, you can write these equations with x's and y's, so you can go type them into Desmos. So you could say y is equal to 1.5x plus 4. And then this one can be y equals 3x plus 1. And then you can go graph those into the graphing calculator. And then wherever they cross, I'm assuming will be the option or the answer for part B, because it says, for how many hours is the cost for both locations equivalent? what is the cost? So equivalent would mean where did they cross? That's what equivalent means. So here we go. We got y equals $1.50 x plus the $4 to skate, to get your skates. And then the other one is y was equal to 3x, but you only pay $1 to start. So here's your graph. Clearly those black and red lines, they cross each other. And I'm going to do the same as we've done before. We're going to click on the dot and see where they cross. That's at 2, 7. So the 2 represents the hours and the 7 is the cost. So for how many hours is the cost for both locations equivalent? So after 2 hours, they would cost the same, and the cost would be $7. After 2 hours, the cost would be the same. And that cost is $7. And I got that information from the intersection over there with the red and black lines on the Desmos graphing calculator where I graphed it. And then at that intersection, that was the answer. Remember, the x is the hours and the y is the cost. So you got 2 hours. So after 2 hours, after 2 hours, the cost would be the same, and that cost would be $7 because that's your y value on the coordinate point. And you finished question 9. And now we're going to go do the last question on the test. A 40-question test has 132 possible points. There are M 5-point questions and N 1-point questions. How many of each type of question is on the test? Okay, so that's where we got to make 2 types of equations here. So we have, let's see here, we got a 40-question test, 132 possible. And there are M 5-point questions, and there are N 1-point questions. So M plus N, the questions, total questions, there's 40. And then there are 5-point M questions, and there are 1 N-point questions for a total possible points of 132. Now, you can technically take this and make it x's and y's. So you could say x plus y equals 40. And then you could also say 5x plus 1y equals 132. Then you can go graph these equations into Desmos because you're going to use x's and y's. And you can see where they cross. And that, as you have noticed that throughout this entire test, that is how you find your answers at the intersections, if they intersect at all. So we got x plus y equals the 40. And then you have the 5x plus 1y equals the 132. And you don't have to put the 1y. You can just put y if you wanted. It doesn't really matter. Let's zoom out here. And as you can see, they actually cross. And they cross at a certain value. And I'm going to go click on that value. And I guarantee you it's going to be one of these options, A, B, C, or D. And we let x represent letter M and N represents letter Y. So if we're looking at a coordinate point, it would technically look like this, x, comma, y. It's kind of like that. And that's true for all the way down, all the way down. Okay, so we're fixing to click on this coordinate point, and hopefully you kind of finally catch the picture here. So here's the coordinate point right here. 23, 17. 23, 17 is the coordinate point. And we have a winner. It's option A. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. We got option A, and it is a done deal, and we are all done with our entire test. And that's it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to, I guess, put a comment down below if you can. I'm not 100% sure if you can or not. But I'm going to slowly scroll through all these one more time so you can pause the screen, try out the problems for yourself. And then if you would like to see if you got the same answer, that's cool too. So let's go back to the top, slowly scroll, and then we'll be done. All right, guys. That's all your problems, 1 through 10. And if you're curious about how to solve some of these problems the way that they asked you to do, for instance, number 7 said use substitution, and then number 5 said use elimination. If you want to learn how to do that, I made other videos on how to actually do that. A review video probably wouldn't be the best way to figure out how to do that, only because, well, my kids are allowed to use a Desmos graphing calculator, and if that's the case, graphing it's the easiest way, as you can tell. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to comment, and hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.